Hello everybody, it's me, Riffraff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault, and today we have a monster review. We've been working on elementals, so we're going to continue with another elemental today, and today it's the Earth Elemental, and that's as brought to us from the original monster manual for use with basic Dungeons & Dragons. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, what's typically called 1E today. And at the end of today's video, there's a link to a video about the shared attributes of all elementals that help fill in some of the details on all of these creatures. So today it's the Earth Elemental, and the Earth Elemental, as a dwarf, it's probably the one we fear the most. They're able to break up good solid dwarf stonework, and we don't appreciate that at all. That brings a tear to our eyes, makes us wring our beards in agony. It's a bad thing, and the Earth Elemental is very capable of doing that. This elemental is obviously rare. You're only going to run into one at a time. Thank goodness for small favors. And it can do 4 to 32 points of damage in a single hit, which is, wow, that's a lot of damage, potentially. At the same time, this is a strong creature. Like all elementals, it is either 8, 12, or 16 hit dice, depending on how it was summoned. And it is one that, like all elementals as well, need a +2 weapon or better to hit. They're a tough creature. Now, these also have the additional ability of being able to smash stones and earthen structures and literally tear them apart with just a few hits. That's why we don't like them, but they're not easy to kill either. They gotta have a lot of hit points. They're armor classes too, so that's not that great, but still it's not that crappy either. They're a very effective creature against us dwarves, so like I said, we don't really like these guys. Now, they do have some limitations. They can't do things like cross barriers that are made of another element. So if it gets to a river, its only way of getting around the river is to actually burrow underneath the river and come up the other side. And because they don't move that fast, they move at about half the speed that a human is capable of on the ground. You can run away from these. That's a positive thing. But in a confined space, or if the magic user is really bringing them there so it can tear them a hole in something or break something apart, boy, they can be really, really effective. Now, of course, we don't like these, but, all of the elementals, whether it's any of them, they all have a extra tier that we don't see unless we go to their home plane, where there's, smarter versions of these and ones that maybe have magic, and they're some kind of a ruler that looks after the rest of the elementals. Fortunately, they don't come to the prime material plane. And if they do, boy, are you unlucky. But the Earth Elemental, having been a summoned creature, can only exist for a relatively short period of time. And that, fortunately, is a real benefit. It does not have any special magic resistance, so it's standard magic resistance, so it can definitely be damaged by magic. It is better at dealing out damage to things that are grounded on the earth. So this is an important thing to remember. If its target is touching the ground, it takes full damage. If it's not touching the ground, and no, I don't think it's going to work. I'm going to hop in the air when it swings at me. No, that's not going to work. But levitate or flying, things like that, if you get hit, it reduces the amount of damage per die that the creature is able to do to you. It's a big benefit. I think it's -2 per die or something like that. So that's pretty effective. These are definitely creatures you have to be wary of, but fortunately, and unlike the air elemental, they don't move fast, so you can get away from them. So, of course, we had to go out to the greater Hornhelm community and say, hey, what about these things? Yeah, they're slow. Yeah, they're stupid. Yeah, they don't like being here, but you don't want to get punched by them. And of course, the dungeon masters amongst the community, the various game masters, came back and said, an effective creature, but really a 5. And I really wouldn't argue with that. Even from a dwarven standpoint, at least you don't have to take it from them because it's so easy to get away from them. And from a dungeon master standpoint, they were generally a fun encounter for just a few rounds before people figured out that, oh, hey, I can go far away and we can throw magic at it or something, and it can't get to us in time. So this is a fairly vulnerable creature. But if you're in a confined space, if you're underground, and you have a fair number of low-level creatures around, whether it's your adventuring party is low-level or there's a bunch of orcs or goblins or something like that, oh boy, can these guys really cause issues. They're like a unstoppable battering ram. But, of course, going to the players about this and saying, hey, what about this one? We're talking the Earth Elemental here. And they came back and they did rank it a bit higher, only because they found him to be such a difficult obstacle to get around in a confined space. So they actually gave it between a 5 and a 6, which isn't that much higher than what the DM said, but I was kind of surprised it was higher. But hey, it's up to them. So, that is the Earth Elemental. Not an earth-shattering, maybe that's a bad turn of phrase. Not exactly the most fearsome of elementals, but certainly not one you want to run into in the wrong place. And of course, you always have the risk because the elemental is always going to have a summoner that must absolutely concentrate on its control at all times. Failure to do so is going to end badly. So that, of course, is the Earth Elemental. We hope you enjoyed today's presentation. If you did, please give us a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't. Share with your friends. Leave a comment. But most of all, come back and see us again real soon. We very much appreciate your kind support. Take care, everyone, and remember, dwarves rock!